Right, Trips, here we go. Welcome into the Irn-Cru podcast. I'm your host, Danny McVeigh, and this is Super Wildcard review show. And good to say, what a weekend of games it was. It was just non-stop excitement, top-class entertainment, start to finish. Well, maybe not quite the finish, but it was top-class entertainment anyway. But, right, before we get into all the action, let's meet the crew. First up, he's a sad Vikings fan. How sad are you, Craigie? Come on, Craig Smith, tell us all about it. Do you need a hug?
I have to talk about it. I do. I would love a hug.
Don't worry, we've got a whole section lined up where you can tell us all about it. But I just want to hear about
I can't wait.
The sadness, the melancholy that's been in your life since Sunday, and how much Murdo has basically just got it right up you.
Rubbed it in on a continuous basis. Yes, he's a very happy Giant. I'm a very sad Viking, but no, do you know what? I'm good. I'm used to it, Danny. I'm used to years of bitter disappointment. So I'll take it on the chin. And the rest of the weekend was decent. Good weekend of football, cracking games. So, and I get to have a blather about it with you boys, and I'm sure you won't rub it in too much over the next hour and a bit.
You've just got to be grateful for small things. At least it wasn't a kicker this time. You know, at least it was a shoddy defence. So, you know,
just a shoddy aging defence. Yeah,
you've got to take these small victories, mate. Right. Next up is a happy Green Bay fan, Liam McGee. Liam, have you finished pissing yourself laughing at the Vikings?
Just about. It was a good watch, shall I say? Went well a bit.
No, it wasn't.
Even though I predicted the Vikings to win, you know.
I was going to say that, but we all know that was about reverse psychology. You're just,
indeed.
You know, I get it. A wee bit of voodoo there. I know what you're saying. Right, last but certainly not least, another Pats fan who was just enjoying a good bit of football, wouldn't you, mate? How's it going, Scuddy?
I'm not bad, buddy, not bad. What a cracking weekend of football. It was delightful, not a bad game. Oh, there was a bad game, but it wasn't at the weekend, so we don't need to talk about that one too much.
No, we will get into all the games. I don't know. There's kind of just before we get into them all, there's a bit of kind of thing about the Super Wild Card weekend where this 7th team and the 7th seed, did they actually add any entertainment to the, to the playoffs? Are they just there for cannon fodder? I think this weekend showed up that they are legitimately there, and it's a good thing. Maybe we'll come into a wee bit about the Monday night football thing later on, but just what a weekend of sport and football, non-stop entertainment. Right, lads, usually the thing by now, usually we have a kick-off question and we have a bit of blather and a bit of laugh about something, but I don't see the point. Let's not waste time with that. Let's just get into the games. There's absolutely 6 crackers to get into. We'll run through them in the sort of chronological order, the way they were aired and the way they were shown. So first up, we have the number 7 seed Seattle Seahawks. They travel down to Santa Clara, take on the number 2 seed San Francisco 49ers. And good to say at the half, this wasn't exactly gone as many had predicted, was it? The Niners were trailing by 1. Seattle more than matched them. They were getting involved in them, just as physical as them. And let's face it, for a lot of people, the Niners were Super Bowl favourites, but Niners just ran away with it late in the third quarter. Strip sack, led to Brock Purdy, touchdown pass, Elijah Mitchell, which was a beautiful play. I'd like to talk a wee bit more about that one, hopefully. That put the Niners well in control, and they went on to close out the game 41-23. So, lads, Smudger, do I start with you? Do I just keep you for the Vikings game? No, right. I'll come to you, mate. Right? Since you're first on, right?
Me, mate. I really enjoyed this one, like you say. Kicked off the weekend with an absolutely brilliant game, and half time looked like there might have been a wee bit of upset in the cards. Seahawks did everything that I think could have been expected of them. They did move the ball well. I thought Gino had a decent start to the game. The 49ers, in my opinion, you look at the talent that they've got, the system that they've got, and how well Brock Purdy's adapted to that system, the things that they've managed to overcome, with the quarterback situation in particular, they've had to chop and change. They've gone from Lance, they've gone to Garoppolo, they've gone back to Purdy. That's no disrespect to Purdy, who I did think had an absolutely brilliant game for the 49ers. He was excellent. and he kept getting better as the game went on, and they really kind of found their groove in the second half. I thought at the beginning of the game, like McCaffrey really like looked up for it and had some absolutely brilliant rushes as well. He looked, he's been tremendous. He's been an absolutely superb addition to their side, but they've just got so many weapons. Debo was brilliant as well. They all just are clicking at the right time. And I did feel for Seattle because they made a really big, impact in the first half. They were, just ahead at the half, but they just didn't have the momentum in the second half. But I think the Seahawks have exceeded everyone's expectations, given where they were at the beginning of the season. They, like, as a Seattle Seahawks fan, I would think, at the end of this season, looking ahead to next season as well, with now the picks that you've got and what you can build around that, and even listening to Gino after the game talking about like his future and how appreciative he's been of the chance he's been given as the starting quarterback in Seattle. Like he wants to be there. He wants to make sure that they can find a deal that will keep him there, and probably financially he's not going to take too much of a hit as far as that's concerned. So there's loads of things that I think Seattle have got to take as positives for this. The 49ers move on. They look the business, and they've got to be the strong favourites. That's my opinion on it anyway. But yeah, it was a brilliant game. Loved watching it, and Purdy was tremendous. 332 yards they ended up passing for. Absolutely superb for what he's sixth game or something, like
seventh,
six and a bit.
No many.
No many.
The same amount of fingers that somebody for Lark-Hall's got.
Aye, he just looked so assured, so composed. Like the pressure he must have been under. So, absolutely brilliant, superb.
I know that the number of passing yards, apparently that's the second most amount of passing yards for a rookie in a playoff, only behind Danger Russ about 10 years ago against the Falcons, apparently. See, I've got all the statistics here as well. Right, Scud, what did you see for this one? Did you enjoy the 49ers?
Yes, they're a really good team. They're good to watch in all phases of the ball. They're in defence, they maybe let more through in the second quarter than I thought they were going to, but they came out on top in the end. They showed their quality. Their line, getting after the passer, the quarterback, is ridiculous. Attacking, you touched on it, Smudger. McCaffrey was amazing. He looks like he's back to what he was before all these injuries for the couple of years when he wasn't exactly who he should have been.
Don't jinx us, Scud. Don't say that. Come on.
Yeah, he's caused me a lot of hassle and a lot of fantasy leagues. I don't actually care anymore. I'm never drafting the guy as long as I live. And then Debo's run as well. He's coming back to full fitness. Ayuk's took a big step forward this year. And then George Kittle's just his Purdy's safety blanket. The only question they've got is the quarterback, but he seems to answer every question it's always asked of him. So there needs to be a point where we're stop asking, saying he has the weakness, but it's how he can deal with the pressure now that's on his shoulders. He's a young guy, maybe got no fear, so he may just rise to it and just grow with it. But there's still a wee nagging doubt of everything in the team. It's only really him that's a sort of question mark, I would say. But he's answering every question through him just now.
Well, that's what I was going to say. He is the first rookie to account for 4 touchdowns in a playoff game. Sorry, not a rookie game, in a playoff game. So if that's the one person you've got doubts about, I think as a team you're doing all right. I think though, like, there's one thing, they've got to stop. They kind of give up as many silly points. They obviously gave up that silly field goal at the very end of the half. There was the I was going to say roughing the passer, but it wasn't roughing the passer. Well, did they put it down as roughing? But you know what I mean. And they gave him 15 yards and set up. I think it was like a 56-yard field goal or something like that for them to take a lead. That was a bit sloppy, and they looked a bit sluggish in this game. Liam, there was a play that a lot of people were kind of looking at, and needless to say, it's an ex-Raider that was involved in it. Jonathan Abrams,
an ex-Packer too. I have,
Oh, was he the Packers as well?
I can't remember if he actually played. He played one game, brief visit this season. I know.
Yeah, I remember watching him when he was drafted on Hard Knocks when it was the Raiders, and he just kind of seemed to come across as a bit of a bell end and a great player, but a bell end nonetheless. And so what did they do? He tries to grab and twist Debo's ankle, left him sore, and it just kind of kicked the whole team right up the arse.
Pretty much, you know. It kind of gave, and it's like Debo, and it was Debo back. He was like, "Stuff that! I'm going to go for 74 yards for a touchdown." So, aye.
Yeah, don't piss off these guys when they're that talented, I suppose, is the key. But again, like, when you've seen Purdy, how much do you think is down to Purdy and how much do you think the scheme with Shanahan? Because we all know fine well that Kyle Shanahan is an offensive mastermind. So how much do you think is actually there? How much do you think he's actually the real deal?
Well, that's the thing. I think that's like still the question, isn't it? I think you have to put a lot in Shanahan. Like his scheme's amazing, but again, is it the quarterback? Is it just the number of skill players they've got? It's, as you say, I was rhyming off earlier on there, like you're just rhyming off player after player. But could you drop any other quarterback into that and just do it as well?
Jimmy G, Trey Lance.
And what's that other question? What are they going to do next off? I know it's a bit early to talk about their off season, but what are they going to do next off season when Lance is back?
Well, to be honest, though, we've seen this though. Kyle Shannon, when he was running the Falcons, is it any wonder that was like Matt Ryan's best year? Yeah. I've got a complete brain fart now about how they pulled in a couple of years ago when Jimmy G was injured constantly. That's got to really annoy me. I'll come back to me in the middle of the night. I'll wake up in a screaming a cold sweat or something like that. But but for a guy who's drafted, everybody knows, 7th round, last pick in the draft, he shows so much poise. And what I was really impressed with in this game was his vision in the pocket. There was the play to Elijah Moore. You see, he just sort of rolls out to the left. You think he's about to get sacked. He managed to just sort of break away to the right, just finds him wide open, And then
some stat about like wide receivers. I just say they're San Francisco. They're all wide open. It was like 10 yards after the catch or something like that. And I think the average is about 6 odd yards. So it's like that's just scheme, isn't it? So getting that wide open.
But that one wasn't a scheme though. At the end of the day, that was a play broke down. And that was all Purdy, his pocket awareness, his movement. And for kind of a wee guy, he doesn't look like he should be that mobile, but a bit like Brady, their pocket movement, their awareness, they're moving about and they can feel the pressure coming, where it's coming from. He was getting away some great plays. What I absolutely love about this 49ers team is the trenches, though. The offensive line, the defensive line, unreal. They just get after everything. Brilliant to see. I particularly loved, Thanks, Ross. It was Nick Mullins.
I was just going to say that.
Right. You can sleep easily tonight, mate.
I look forward to my watch tell me later on or tomorrow morning. I've had like 4 hours of deep sleep now. Cheers, Ross. There was Brock. He's quarterback sneak for 1 yard. I absolutely loved it. He as well just like kind of stood still and just let the whole line and the whole backfield just push him forward. And he didn't even need to sneak. It was just like, we're bigger and stronger than you, and we're going to manhandle you right into that end zone.
I loved also his what was it? I can't remember what play it was. Was it first half where he had to run off to the side of the scramble and he kind of high stepped the guy to just get an extra yard? It was like, that's pretty nice.
Showing confidence, didn't he? He's shown a lot of confidence for a young man.
Yeah, and the fact, it was only sacked once. A lot of these rookies, particularly getting into it, and I'm sure we'll get to like Trevor Lawrence and stuff soon. They're making their playoff debut. The nerves are there. No fine well that there's no next week if you get this wrong. It must be. He must fill him with so much confidence, knowing fine well that O-line they've got in front of him, he's well protected. As I say, he was only sacked once this game for about 8 yards or something like that. That's just got to really just, G you up and just know you're untouchable. He did look a wee bit nervy to start with, I would say that, but like I say, he just seemed to grow into this game. Yeah. What else would I like to kind of bring up here? There was just one play from Zell. I thought the 50-yard touchdown pass to DK Metcalf. Absolutely lovely. Wide open. And if there's anybody who you can maybe get after in that secondary, it was Ward. So that's one to look forward to. But any other thoughts on this game, lads? Or will we kick on to the next one?
No, kick on. There'll be more tests for the 49ers to come, but bigger tests, but we'll see how they go on.
Any surprises there? Was there any surprise in the final score or anything?
Just how close it was at the half, as you touched
half,
on, mate.
Yeah. Other than that, the final score not entirely surprising, but yeah,
I guess
San Francisco, they look the business.
Class showed through in the end. Then there was the late game or early Sunday. I'm still saying it was a late Saturday game. What did we have here? It was in Duval County. And this was the home of one of the kind of all-time classic playoff matches, wasn't it? This was unreal. 5th seed LA Chargers, they were in town to take on 4th seed Jacksonville Jaguars. They won the AFC South, of course. And to be honest, after going 27, getting ahead 27-0 in the second quarter, ESPN Analytics had the Chargers' chances of winning this game at 98.3%. That 1.7% was all that Trevor Lawrence needed just to get this team rallied. He went on to throw 4 touchdowns, and then went on to set up Patterson for that 36-yard field goal to win the game. How good a game was this to watch? This was just batshit mental, to be honest, at the start. What did you make it, Liam?
It was crazy. Like, it was just like, as you say, the first half in total was just like interception after interception. You're like, what is going on? It was crazy. But fair to Lawrence, like, as you've kind of seen the progress throughout the season, haven't we? Like, how he's kind of come on. Like, fair play to him to throw 4 interceptions in your first playoff game and then turn it around to get a win out of it. That takes a bit of character. It's like maybe he was a number 1 overall pick after all. So it definitely was impressive to see.
No, definitely.
It was good. And then even like he's through to 4 different players for his touchdowns as well. It's just like good things are coming, I think, for the Jags, if not already.
Well, again, it's something that I've talked on about the last couple of podcasts I've been on. Coaching matters. You know, we saw poor coaching last year, Urban Meyer and Dougie P. We know fine well what he's like. He just gambles. He goes for it every time. Unfortunately, Scud, we've seen that in a Super Bowl. Philly specials, going for it constantly in 4th downs. And I don't know, again, I think that just sort of breeds confidence in them because, again, you saw Trevor Lawrence on the sideline really rallying up his team. He was taking full responsibility because some of his interceptions were pretty poor, maybe a bit of nerves there. Scuddy, they started interception, then it was a touchdown, an interception, a field goal, a punt, then the Chargers punted, then it was an interception, then it was a touchdown, punt, touchdown, interception, then a punt, field goal. You know, it was just non-stop. It was just like, when is this going to end? It was just like watching a car crash. But what I particularly loved, just before we get to a wee bit more of the game, was Twitter. The amount of freezing cold takes that you seen the next day on Twitter about all these talking heads, all these experts. Oh, you know, this is embarrassing. Is this the end of them? The Titans would have been better than this. And then it was just one after the other, freezing cold takes. I thought that was absolutely brilliant. But what did Scuddy, what did you see from the Jags then in the second half that really changed it? Or I guess right before the half, because obviously the touchdown right before that.
What I seen was a young quarterback almost like coming of age. To bounce back from 4 interceptions was nothing short of amazing. Many better players were probably crumbled under those circumstances, but to do that in your first game and then the balls to come back and do what you done in the second half or just before the half, as you touched on, was ridiculous. They've got a stud in Etienne. He's a player. You've got that they can rely on. I would still not say they've got the best weapons. They've got good weapons, but they've not got, to me, a true number 1 receiver at the moment.
Calvin's at least Calvin's all right.
He wasn't even a true number 1 receiver with Atlanta, but you know what I'm talking about. You got a JJ, a Metcalf, a big physical presence to get that. He needs something like that in his arsenal. But no, the second half was just nothing but remarkable. I thought it was a scoosh because I took the Chargers thinking at halftime, I've won this, no bother. No.
Didn't post that on Twitter then, did you, Scott?
No, I was thankful I was sleeping at that point.
But I guess, look, when I was watching it, were the Chargers actually that good in the first half, Smudger, or were they just benefiting from short field, taking advantage of the mistakes that Jags had jumped on, and they were actually still struggling to move the ball?
You've hit the nail on the head. In the first half, the Jags were basically shooting themselves in the foot. They were continually giving the ball back to the Chargers, giving them opportunities. The Chargers weren't particularly great, and as Jacksonville got more and more belief in themselves, and to at least going into the half and being able to claw that back a little bit, coming out in the second half, they just looked like a completely different team, and you could see the confidence growing. And the biggest thing that probably showed how much more confident they got as the game went on, and the belief that they could win it, was the 2-point conversion to then bring it to within. You know what? We can get a field goal here and just win this outright. Forget about tying the game. We can win this, because they stopped making the stupid mistakes in the first half, the 4 interceptions, and all credit to Lawrence to put that to the back of his mind, focus on what he has to do, get that 2-point conversion, and then for them to go up and get within the field goal range and to finish it like that was just, it was like Hollywood stuff. It was brilliant. Again, like the unbelievable comebacks we've had in this NFL season. That one, as far as the playoffs go, was tremendous, brilliant. The script was excellent, and I love, Lawrence. It really takes a special kind of quarterback to overcome, mentally overcome that in that kind of high pressure playoff. It's all or nothing, really. To do that, and then second half come out and play the way he did and have that belief in himself. And yeah, they've got Liam, you touched on it as well. They had 4 different touchdowns from 4 different players. They do have talent there, but the biggest thing was that they had that belief in themselves, that they were able to do that and come back. Lawrence is a tremendous quarterback, and I will be really, really looking forward to seeing what they do next. It's going to be an uphill struggle because there's some good teams coming up. Certainly that 49ers team that we've just talked about, plus others that are going to be in the mix. So
we'll talk about the divisional games a wee bit later on, but we'll not mention the team with the asterisks. The one of the plays I think needs to be brought up, what I just thought was unbelievable play calling. Now, as I said, for me, the second half adjustments that Doug Pearson and the coaching team and the Jags were making were unbelievable. They're really taking the looks that the Chargers were giving them and really playing to the strength. They were properly carving them up at that point. But that 4th and 1 to set up the field goal, it was TATN, where it looked like, because obviously the 2-point conversion was, you take 6'6" Trevor Lawrence, and he basically just sticks his hand out because he's bigger than everybody, and he gets it. And you could just see the whole Chargers defense had just loaded behind it. It's like they're going to rush. This is a QB sneak. No, pass it off. Trevor Lawrence hits the edge. Away he goes. It was just brilliant, absolutely brilliant play calling by Doug Pearson. And again, it just reminds me of stuff like the Philly special, stuff that we've seen, which is great to see. I'm pretty sure we could have a debate in one of these podcasts about who should be coach of the year, and surely Doug Pearson's got to be up there.
Definitely.
A couple of things.
At least Lawrence at least showed when you're 4th and goal and you need to get the ball across the line as a quarterback, how to do it, as opposed to, say, Tyler Huntley, which we'll get onto later because that was hilarious.
We will definitely that. Right. Ross has come in again. What are you saying, Ross Sterling? Trevor Lawrence was the first QB to throw 4 interceptions in the first half and win a playoff since Andrew Luck did it at Arrowhead. 4 interceptions and 3 touchdowns. There you go. Every day's a school day. Happy to listen to comments. We'll read them out. It's particularly ones that slag Ross Sterling. We're happy to listen to them.
I just asked something, but how much was you regretting playing Mike Williams in the meaningless game?
I was going to say that. Yeah, that was.
This is what we're just about to get back to. You've got a 27-0 lead. You're a defensive coach. You made your name as a defensive coach, and you let it collapse. You ruin your chances of winning by getting arguably your best offensive weapon injured in basically a meaningless game the week before. Should he be sacked?
Yes.
Well, they've already sacked the OC, have they not? I thought I heard Lombardi. I think they've sacked him already.
But Staley's
Yeah.
been questionable.
I saw that
about his
with
Oh, I know
decision
that, but
all
it's
the way
like, as you,
through. So surely he can't survive that.
you think so, but it's like, let's get rid of the OC, blame it on him.
But when it's your defence that's giving up the 31 points and giving up 2-point conversions late in the fourth quarter and giving up the 4th and 1s, that's not really where you want to be. Now, one of the points I've heard that a few times, and it's true, Chargers are a bit cheap, so there's a good chance they might not want to. They want to ride with a cheap manager rather than going for a Sean Payton, paying him the big money and giving, Justin Herbert, who is an absolute unreal talent. He's still got it. You can still see it, still see flashes there, but as a scheme and as a team, they just look a wee bit downtrodden. They look like they need a change. They look like they need sort of freshened up. So, yeah, I've got to say, for the battle of the hair, who do you think's got the best hair, actually, Herbert and Lawrence? Because I was sitting thinking this one thing, like, Lawrence
I think
hair always
Lawrence
looks
is just
like
so
it's
smooth,
pure
doesn't it?
straight, isn't it?
Yeah.
He must use like
So
L'Oreal
smooth.
or something like that.
Good bit
Get
of
some
conditioning
conditioning
going on there.
Indeed, aye.
Because even when he's on the field, he looked the exact same when he takes his helmet off as he was later on at Waffle House that night celebrating it.
No hat here, no helmet here, really.
Not one bit. Whereas I'll probably, whatever hair I've got left is going to be look a mess after I take this headset off. But one other point to bring up in this game that I thought was brilliant. So, guys, just imagine the dream, right? Imagine you win a wee scratch card or something like that and you win 1.4 million quid. And you go to halftime and you see it's 27-0 to the Chargers. Would you fancy betting 1.4 million quid in the Chargers to win at halftime just to win 11 grand? Did you see that?
No.
No.
Oh,
Did
did you not see
that
it?
actually happen?
Sure, you get that. Sure, you get the
Oh.
interest just about that as well. If you put it in the bank.
To win
I know.
11 grand.
Apparently one nut job out there decided to bet 1.4 million at half when it was 27-0 just to win 11 grand back. So, well, sucks to be him.
Yep.
Can't wait to see what his wife had to say the next day. Oh, I bet he was sleeping the Right, that was the Saturday night games. Absolute crackers. 2 of them were brilliant. We then go on to the Sunday games and AFC wildcard game. It was going to be a blowout of the weekend, some said. It was going to be an embarrassment for Miami, others said. But really, when it comes to playoff football, anything can happen in this league, and that's why we love it. And it almost did at Orchard Park on Sunday. Number 2 seed, Buffalo Bills, managed to just shrug off some sloppy play and just, they were a bit meh overall the entire game. That is a technical term, meh. It's trademark copyrighted. Danny McGray, thank you. They managed to just scrape past a heavily injured Miami Dolphins team. This didn't quite go to plan, did it? Because Scud, was that on with you in the previous show? What was your take? Can you remember your prediction for this game?
I said they were going to get pumped.
Pumped. Again, another technical term. Pumped. Was it Nate Doots?
I couldn't even see them score, never mind doing what they done, but I will.
Do you remember what I said in that game? Or in that podcast, sorry, about the game. I just want to bring this up early just so I can
No, I know you're getting it, but no, I don't.
How I said it'd be much closer than everybody's going for, and I think it would. I don't know if I actually said it was 3, but I was thinking they would have been.
You
by
did
3.
say it was going to be 3.
And I would bet Miami and the points. So I'm going to sit here, look smug, while you 3 gentlemen tell me all about the game. Liam, tell me what went down here. What was good? What was bad? Start with you pick Miami or Buffalo. I'll let you go. I'm sitting smug.
I suppose we've got to start with the winners. We'll start with Buffalo, I suppose, won't we? It kind of looked, as you say, it looked like it was going to blow out early. So I think we're up 17-0 early. Allen doing well, but then Allen was just doing what Allen's kind of done all season. He's kind of just started throwing some interceptions. He had that fumble in the third quarter, wasn't it? By that point, it's kind of slightly worrying for the Bills. As much as they got the win, it's slightly concerning. They were 27-24 down, middle of the third after that fumble to Miami, as we say, who no one gave a chance at doing anything. And even
I did.
oh sorry, bar one fine gentleman.
I still say they would lose, but I said it was close. Right, so sorry.
And to be fair, no, and also and Miami were also just dropping passes right, left, and centre as well. It's like, as much as Skylar Thompson's stats were not the greatest, to be fair, but he's, I suppose, rookie quarterback thrown into, what was it, second game, full game sort of thing. Waddle had quite a few drops, and then that was kind of strange. Waddle, you can see Waddle was injured, and they're still trying to get him involved. I suppose try and get your best players on the ball and just go with it and hope for the best, I suppose. But yeah, it's like Buffalo's D did enough in the end, but it's going to be interesting how things are going to progress now for the Bills, I think.
Thompson's stats, they weren't great.
No, they weren't. Yeah, they were all right. I would take it as a quarterback.
18 completions and absolutely. 18 completions and 45 attempts, so less than 50%. 50%.
I think it's more 5 drops. It was for big yardage. It wasn't all on him.
No, it wasn't. And but like you say, the rest of that Miami team as well helped him out. Oh, we've lost Scott. The rest of the team, the defense, Miami defense helped them out massively as well. You talk about the fumble return that they put in at the beginning of the third quarter, and at that point you were like, oh, this is got interesting. We've got a game here. I was in the same boat as you, Liam and Scud. I had the Bills -11, I think, on my coupon. I thought it was going to be an absolute bloodbath. I really did.
Should have listened to the podcast last week, mate. I've told you a thing or two.
I am an avid listener to this podcast, Danny. I thoroughly enjoyed the previous pods. I was watching them live. I was doing my stuff around the house, and I had you guys on my phone. I was watching and listening. But yeah, I thought the Bills were going to. I thought just everything that's happened with the Buffalo Bills in recent weeks. I thought they were going to take that forward, and in this game with Miami, say with Skylar Thompson starting, I feared the worst. I really did. But they did. They kept it close, really close. Kept it really entertaining. We thought we were going to get a major upset. I tweeted about it at the time. I thought, could Miami cause like one of the biggest upsets here? So like, Bills have clung onto the win, 3 points in it in the end. Out of all the games, I mean, there was the massive comeback for the Jags was unexpected, but I did fancy them to beat the Chargers. I had them, but I would have said Miami beating the Bills probably would have been the biggest upset of all the games. So you've got to give credit where it's due with what they had at the beginning, in terms of no Tua. He's had his concussion issues, and hopefully he'll be back next season, and they can build on that. But looking at their stats, Thompson wasn't particularly great. Nobody in as far as the receiving yards, Tyreek Hill got the most 69 yards.
Hey.
Aye, for somebody like that, that's usually such a massive deep threat. It's disappointing. So for the Bills, they move on to the next round. Hopefully, they learn a few lessons from this, particularly with Allen and the mistakes that he was making. I think that's the one big takeaway from the Bills side of things. Is Allen's maybe got to take a wee bit of a look at himself. What can he do to improve, so they don't end up, say, in a game like this where they've had such a comfortable lead, 17 points, and let Miami back in.
It's good. How much do you think Mike McDaniels is sitting kicking his own arse over that clock management?
Oh, he will be killing himself for that. And the decision to throw for it rather than just take this, he'll be killing himself. But see, I think if one player was fit, they would have won that game. Mostert. I think if they had a running game and somebody to go at them, they would have won that game of football. Be it 2-0, it wasn't there, but if they could actually have run the ball, look what Mostert done when they won earlier on in the season, 100 and odd yards against them, but they were missing that the cutting edge in the run game.
They were heavily banged up. I think everybody knows that, and
Aye.
there's a credit to them. But it doesn't help when you've burned all 3 your timeouts with, what was it, about 10 minutes or something left in the fourth quarter, or something daft like that. They were taking forever. There was that delay of game. Was it 4th and 1? I'm sorry, I'm trying.
No, it was 4th and 1. They went to
Fourth
4th
and
and 6.
And it took them about 40 seconds to get the play call in and actually set up in the huddle. And it's just that stuff can't be happening. Not in the biggest game of your season. Again, talk about shooting yourself in the foot. That's exactly what they're playing at there. How much? The one thing I sort of took away for this is that teams seem to be goading Josh Allen into throwing deep. Now, he will land one. Fine well, he will connect with Stephon Diggs and they will go. But fine well, he'll cough up at least one interception as well. And again, as things start going up and starting facing some defences that are a bit better, should Buffalo fans be worried about just the way they're playing now? As I said, I thought the Patriots should have beat them. Special teams messed up big time for us. They kind of, they've just sort of been sluggish the last few weeks. And I know they've obviously had quite an emotional time with the DeMar Hamlin stuff, but kind of getting into the football side now, I thought they're really missing Von Miller and missing that pass rush. I mean, somebody get after, quarterbacks when it isn't third down, get them off the field. Matt Milano stepped up a big way. He's an absolute phenom. But yeah, do we think Buffalo should be worried and need a kick up the arse?
There's a strange... sorry, go on, you go, Scott. Sorry.
On you go, Liam. Sorry, mate, I'll go next.
I was going to say
There's
a strange series of play. There's a strange what was it? It was Davis that kept throwing to. There's a two long shots, the exact same play, and Davis is sprinting down the sideline for the first one, misses the ball, doesn't catch the ball, gasp, but they call the same play again, exact same play, and try and get him to run the exact same. And as you say, as you were saying, Danny, they're just kind of teams are they just let them try to throw deep and get the spoils afterwards. Hopefully, to be fair to Davis, he turned up again on a playoff game. To be fair, with his stats, whatever his touchdown and his 113 yards or something like that. So
some of his catches were unreal. He had that catch where it just looked like it was incomplete and it bounced off it. You just seen the way he get his hand underneath it, and you see him afterwards, and he was just kind of smuggle it. Yeah,
I did that.
I got that. Easy, no bar, wee man. It was good. Yeah, any other?
The Bills maybe have to, as far as Allen goes, he might have to. He didn't rush for a huge amount in this game, and normally that's one of Josh Allen's biggest strengths. Is when he's not got a pass on, he's able to maneuver at the pocket, and he's able to gain those extra 5 tiers, get to that first down, slide for that first down. Didn't do a huge amount of that in this game. Maybe like you were saying, Danny, if he is taking all these deep shots and he's coming up against better defences, maybe they do have to start leaning on the running game a wee bit more, not just Allen, but, James Cook got a touchdown in this game. I really like him. I hope he does well. Mini Dalvin Cook. They maybe have to look at that a little bit more, depending on who they come up against, because if you're gonna be up against, say, better corners, better zone coverage, the Russian side of it's maybe something they're going to have to focus on a little bit, get more of a balance going, rather than just these constant throws from Allen all the time. So, and say Allen included, because only 4 times he was actually rushing this game, which is pretty small for him.
Yeah, Singletary ran pretty well. Obviously, he ran pretty hard for that final first down. He killed the clock. But yeah, I think I agree with their smudge. Right, anything else they want to? Any other final thoughts on this game? Will we move on to probably the highlight of the weekend? The best game. Sunday night. Do
we have to?
I was going to say it was 9:30, but since that Dolphins Bill game's going to last about 5 hours, which I wasn't that bothered about, because by the time I get back to Dublin, drove up, I never get in the house till about back at 10, and it was just starting to kick off. So I just had enough time to grab a Chinese, sit down. And I'm not ashamed to say, but I think I was asleep about an hour later on the couch. But the Guinness was good. Right, rematch, Christmas Eve. We know how that went. Greg the new leg Joseph, 61-yard field goal set up. So we just knew, right, this one was going to be another close game. And typically, the Vikings did their usual, let's fall behind. A nice 10-point deficit. That's what we'll love to give teams. And then what do they do? Start to pull themselves back into this game. And the hope is there. All the Vikings fans just hoping Kirk can do it. Everybody's rooting for him to do it. But no, more sloppy plays, more penalties, just valuable points left off the board. They managed to tie it up. But at the end of the day, this game came down to one man. Danny Dimes was absolutely on fire, ripped this one up. Giants take the win, 31-24. Craig, floor's yours. Tell us what happened. Hold back your tears.
Do I
Take a
have
minute.
to?
Clear the lump for your throat.
Yeah.
Get the tissues out.
Oh, my nose. Where do you start? I'm going to start right with the Giants, and I have to give massive credit to the New York Giants. Daniel Jones had an absolutely tremendous game. He rushed like Josh Allen. Like Josh Allen should have been probably in the previous game. He looked like that kind of quarterback. The mobility that he had, the amount of yards he was able to gain with his feet were, quite frankly, devastating. We didn't have an answer for him. He had like the playoff game of his life, but he's been doing this throughout the season. The transformation in him as a quarterback has been brilliant. The Giants as a team have been much improved this season, and I know like Murdo will be delighted as a resident Irn-Cru Giants fan. He'll be sitting with a big massive smirk on his face as he hears me praising his team through gritted teeth. But
Glad you said smirk.
But yeah, Danny Dimes was great, and we didn't have an answer to it. Saquon as well, just on the ground, both Saquon and Daniel Jones, the amount of space that we were giving Saquon was embarrassing at times. Some of there was one like camera angle where it was showing you the channels that were opening up for Saquon. It was like, this is one of the best running backs in the league, and it was like massive chasms opening up in front of him with nobody covering him. In times, it was absolutely ridiculous. Our defense really struggled in this game. Massively struggled in this game. Offensively, we weren't particularly great. I didn't think that Kirk Cousins was terrible, but we weren't really able to run the ball particularly well. A lot of the times, Cousins would hesitate. He would throw a cross ball to Dalvin Cook, and by the time he'd picked it up, he had no momentum, and he already had at least one Giants defensive player on top of him. Like he had nothing to start with, and he get thrown under the bus a couple of times with decisions like that from Cousins. So there is a bit of fault there. At the end of the game, I mean, when we were tied up, and then the Giants go ahead, and we're driving with basically the season on the line. And the one player that we had in our team that actually like stood out, that had a really good game, like Hawkinson had a really decent game. They get targeted loads. They did an excellent job with Jefferson. Again, got to say, defensively the Giants were tremendous. But Hawkinson, we were having some success with him. It was the last drive of the game. Like the season's on the line, and he's short. Like Hawkinson's short. He's probably not get any chance of breaking that tackle, and that's it. The game's done. He should have taken the gamble at least to try and tie up the game and force it into overtime. So it's disappointing. What can I say? It's been a roller coaster season. We've had some absolutely brilliant games, massive comeback wins. I didn't expect at the start of the season that we would get to where we are, like winning the NFC North, getting into the playoffs. But you've got to say, like, Brian Daboll got to be right up there with like coach of the year contender with the transformation of the New York Giants. They are deserved winners. Got to admit it. They were the better team. I can't say any more than that. We just get absolutely smothered in the key areas that we're usually really strong in. You know, Jefferson's our standout receiver, and apart from the opening drive, other than that, really pretty quiet. It was all really Hawkinson that was seeing all the targets, and the running game was basically non-existent as well. Keep getting snuffed out. So, aye, gutted, mate. In summary.
I don't know about you boys, there just wasn't enough tears in there. I was really wanting snot and pure breaking down. And so that thing like when you fall or something like when you were like 8 and you can't quite catch your breath, but you're trying to talk like that's what I was home to hear. So that was disappointing. Right, just before we move on to the Giants, because I think they're absolutely superb, I think we need to talk more about them.
We do.
There was a particular play that I just could not understand, and it was the very last. It was the 4th down. I think these were 4th and 7.
Yep.
Man coverage, and you throw 2 yards. Was it to Hawkinson or was it 3 yards?
Why would you do that? Why would you do that?
Surely
what's
you
the point?
throw past the sticks.
Yes. Go for something forward. And that was just the one stupid decision that. One of a couple. I'm not laying the blame on Cousins. I think the fault in this game lies with our defence, and I'm also not going to pin everything on Ed Donatel either, because I was looking at like our defence. It's getting pretty old, and it's not going to get any younger. And like I love guys like Harrison Smith. I've got my Harrison Smith jersey on tonight. You know, that guy's 34. He's not getting any younger. Patrick Peterson, 32. He's not getting any younger.
Wish I was 32.
I know. But I just, you look at some of the other defences in this league, the defences that are performing really, really well with young, capable, fast, dynamic defending players. You know, look at guys like Sauce that have come into the league and they've been an absolute revelation for the Jets. We need to start drafting in our defensive positions. We really do. You know, at safety, at corner, we need to strengthen there in this draft, because offensively, we've got something there. We've got a good tight end now. Like Hawkinson was a great asset to bring in this season. We've got Jefferson. I'll stick with Cousins. I don't think I think he's more than familiar with our system now, and he's comfortable in it. The blame can't all lie in there, but yeah, defensively, we need to strengthen in the off-season. That's the biggest takeaway that I would take from this game. We were found out. There is a reason that at the end of the regular season, we were -3 on points difference. We're leaking points. Our defence needs shored up. We can score points. We just can't stop other teams scoring them against us.
Right. Let's put them in the bin. Right. Let's move on to the Giants.
In the bin.
Because as we were talking about there, offensively, they're a surprise, which again, I think we're seeing proper coaching, like I mentioned a few times. This is what happens. We've finally seen the real Danny Dimes, what they actually seen in 6th overall pick, and it's maybe something that Dave Gettleman actually did pretty well. What did you take from it? Because look, you watch the game and they've got guys like Isaiah Hodgins. Sorry, absolutely going off in one. He looks like a legit receiver in this league. Slayton set him up as well. Barkley doing good things. Scud, what did you see for this offense? Is it a masterclass by Daboll and Kafka?
Aye, as you said, it was coaching. It all comes into coaching, mate. And if Urban Meyer, if Doug Peterson is up there for if Doug Peterson is up there for coach of the year, Brian Daboll has to be up there as well, because what he's done to that 100%. Team, especially with, you just touched on their wide receiving core, there's not a household name there. You wouldn't have looked at that and thought they're scary, but as you said, Hodgkinson, Slater, James, all done well. And they've got the tight end. I keep on forgetting this guy's name.
Bellinger.
Aye, he's looking decent. And then you said Jones himself. I mean, he outrushed Barkley, and that's quite. That itself is.
Did you not think it was brilliant? No, at one point he just felt all it's running loose. Like, I'm fucked. Got to stop running me. He's pizza.
But he done all he's running in the first half. Then he didn't even run the second half. I don't think he'd done enough in the first. But no, I think the Giants are a legit team. And if next year this was meant to be the quote unquote just getting to know building year, so they've built really well, and then it's got to be good to see what happens going forward. But as you say, Daniel Jones has turned into been a first round pick. If he can play like this and sustain this level, he'll be a great quarterback for many years to come for the New York Giants.
Yeah, go say I loved the Statue of Liberty play. That was class, wasn't it? It's been a while since I've seen one of them executed. That was great. Liam, what did you take for this game? Is there any you saw for the Giants defense now? You know, big sexy Dexy up front. What a nose tackle he is. He is just getting after absolute everything. I think he get done with a bogus roughing the passer call.
That was a terrible call.
That was harsh.
That was awful.
It was. He kind of spun because of it. It wasn't. If anything, it was probably intentional grounding, actually, rather than roughing the passer. We got away with one. I'll be honest.
But again, guys like Thibodeau coming in, just looking unreal, big difference makers as well. Is that what are you seeing for a defensive side?
Well, I think Craig alluded to it, like how they covered Jefferson. I think it had like 4 targets the first drive, and then 3 more. I think it was 3 more in the second half, and then 3 more in the first half, and then 1 in the second half.
Yeah,
and I think he was getting covered by Adoree Jackson or someone that was coming.
He was massive coming back. Obviously, he came back from injury, and you can see the benefit he makes to that defense.
And another one, who was it? McKinley was it? Was the other one? You could just kind of flying around the place.
McKinney.
And as you say,
it's always a big game as well. He's always making plays. You can see the real sort of young dynamic defense. What you were just talking about earlier, there, Smudger, I guess.
Yeah.
How far do you think they could go, Liam?
Yeah, now they've got the dreaded Eagles to come. I shouldn't say dreaded; they're old favourite, should I say? I don't know. I think, but it's like all credit to Dable coaching, as you say. Can he just coach them through it all? I was very impressed with him. Like, obviously, I always had the luck of seeing him live this year. That was a great experience all round.
Look at your face, that.
But yeah, like watching this game, you couldn't help be impressed with what you saw. Sorry, Craig.
Liam, both our teams have been we've suffered really sore defeats to the Giants this season, so there you go. We share that in common now.
Trust me and Danny can talk about defeats to the Giants.
Don't talk about the game. Apparently the last time the Giants were this far into the postseason, they won the Super Bowl. So just leave that hanging out there. Elevating.
But if this weekend's taught us, it's taught us like divisional games are going to be a lot closer than we expect. You'd think the Eagles might win this, but look at the Bills and the Dolphins. As you said, Danny, it's playoff football and divisionals as well. They know each other very well, so it can come very close.
Well, let's round off these last 2 games and we'll maybe touch on that. So I think it's worth doing, right? So let's go into the next game. This was the Sunday night game. I was definitely asleep the time this one kicked off, but it was the Lamar Jackson-less Baltimore Ravens. They travelled into Cincinnati, take on their AFC North rivals, the Bengals. Joe Burrow and co, they were heavily fancied to have their way in this one, but it was an unlikely hero that clinched the win. Defensive end, Sam Hubbard, ran the ball back 98 yards, old 90, and he was struggling for about 96 of them for the game-winning touchdown and sealed a 24-17 win for the Cincinnati Bengals. This game was a bit nuts as well, wasn't it, lads? I managed to catch it in 40 the next day, but so who wants to take this one? Liam.
I was just going to say, like, it was a really odd game. Like, the Bengals, they were doing fine, they were just kind of plodding on, but Baltimore just kind of shot themselves in the foot all the time, or kind of seemed that way. And as you say, it was that one big play that kind of sealed it. And Bengals, I suppose, like in the hottest team coming, maybe one of the hottest team coming into the playoffs, you probably say. But they just didn't. I suppose I think it's injuries. Like they lost. Who did they lose? They lost. Was it Williams?
Offensive line.
Yeah, another offensive lineman, the left tackle, was it? So that's 3 down. So you kind of worry for Burrow going forward a bit. But they just didn't. They just seemed to just do enough this game. Chase again was class. I thought making plays. It was good to see Higgins kind of making. He didn't have maybe amazing stats in the end, but he was making some good catches after what he went through as well. So that was nice to see. To be honest.
The Ravens just never kind of went away in this game, did they? Like, you know, the slender lead at half time, and then see when it was all tied up at 17-all, the winning touchdown you were talking about, Danny, just when you're talking about like how much he struggled at the end. If you watch it again, I mean, it's hilarious every time you watch it. But the funniest thing about it is watch the referee trying to keep up with him. Like if you think that if you think Big Hubbard's struggling, watch the referee doing his dad jog to try and keep up with the play. I was absolutely buckled watching it. It's honestly so funny.
Is that why you
watch it later on? Give yourself a laugh. It's like
it's
like Brady when he does his when Brady did his video about when he does his dash,
his pre-season dash one. But that's maybe why the ref missed the block in the back then, was it? Oh, nah. I've got to say, I thought it was a bit there. But again, spot football doesn't really matter. It's probably going to set up a winning score anyway. The Ravens is something stinking in, I was going to say Kansas, but I don't know what that saying is, but there's something rotten in Kansas, I think the saying is, but is it rotten in Baltimore? Is there something scud that's going on here that just is not good? We've got Lamar seems to want nothing to do with the place. Wide receivers don't want to go there. We've got J.K. Dobbins coming out afterwards, slating the play calling, and the fact is that he should be running the ball in from the 1 yard line or 2 yard line or whatever it was.
He's got a point.
He does have a point. And I think we mentioned it earlier when we were talking about the 49ers and the fact they basically just picked up Brock Purdy and kind of just threw him
exactly
into the end zone, whereas that play just didn't go to plan. It was a brilliant defensive stand from a Bengals point of view, but I even heard Jim Harbaugh, Jim coming out afterwards and saying, no, he actually executed wrong. He should have went low and not up. How big's the bus? Do they want to throw people under here? It just seems like it's just there's no unity within this team. They're just, and did that show in the end?
Yes. The fact that Jackson wasn't even there with them in the stadium is massive. He's your franchise quarterback, he's injured, but you want him to be on the side. He's meant to be he's got a good relationship with Huntley, but even for him, he wasn't on the side for him. I think that relationship's went really sour, to be honest with you. Their defense played brilliant. The Ravens defense is probably one of the best in the league. They kept him in the game. Let's face facts. The Bengals couldn't run the ball against them. And that puts a lot more pressure on Joe Burrow and the receivers. But to me, there's something, I don't think Jackson will be there next year. I think he's gone. I don't think you can save that, but you say they can get wide receivers to come. They need help. He's no one to throw the ball to. Mark Andrews, great tight end, but he can't do it all himself. And they can't keep any other wide receivers healthy.
The way he was charging down Sam Hubbard shows that he literally was trying to do it all himself, since there was nobody else within sight, was there?
Exactly. And Mr. Cincinnati, you say the wee block, wee nudge to put him down, but
the reaction to that was class, wasn't it? It was looking hands up like, I didn't do it.
He kind of hops over him as well. Like, oh, how did you get down there?
But no, I think the Bengals will get better. I say this is another divisional game. They know each other so well, and that was a legit defense they're up against. So if you take against if the Bills they're playing next week, they'll get a lot more opportunities against that defense. That's for sure.
Yeah, you're absolutely spot on. Those that defense to hold the Bengals to 9 points at the half. The Bengals are, this is a 12-4 team in the season so far. And they've got a tremendous quarterback, so there's nothing wrong with that side of the ball. But yeah, offensively, it's going to be really, really interesting to see what happens next season with the Jackson situation in particular. That is a strange one. I didn't actually know that he wasn't even in the stadium
He travelled
Aye.
last week. He travelled
Aye.
last week to the last divisional game, the last 18, week 18, but
Right.
didn't travel this week. So, and the fact they just gave all that money to
That's definitely
Smith,
a calculated move from Jackson. That is, he knows the press that's going to get. Totally knows what he's doing there. So,
but they've just gave a big
Absolutely.
contract out. So they try. To me, they surely you sign up your franchise quarterback.
Yeah,
All those teams out
exactly.
there have struggled for years. Look at the Jets; not having a quarterback for all the years. They've struggled, and then they've got somebody in the building, and they're not wanting to try and lock them down.
Hmm.
It's a bit.
I suppose it's the old last off seasons. The quarterback contracts are mental now after last off season. But he probably wants all the guaranteed money. So
He definitely will. He's looking around the league. He's drawn comparisons to what statistics what stats he's put up this season. The last 2 seasons, you can look at Lamar Jackson, and in both this season and the previous, he's played pretty much the same. He's played 14 games. His passing stats are pretty similar. He's rushed for been a little bit less mobile this season, but injuries wise, he's struggled a little bit more. But yeah, he's wanting paid. He's looking
a better quarterback than Watson all day long.
Oh, of course he is.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And he's not got the misdemeanors round about him as well.
Yeah.
alleged.
Alleged. Yeah. He's absolutely wanting paid. It's whether the Ravens can afford to pay him, and what does that leave them? Because you said it, and you were absolutely right, Scud. He's got nobody really to be thrown to. So do they then have to look at drafting to strengthen there as well, and take some risks on some rookies?
They've tried that.
I don't know if he'll be there. I don't know what will happen with Lamar Jackson. I really don't. And where he goes to, but that'll be the quarterback carousel special that we'll do in the off season.
I'm just glad there's another quarterback carousel going on, and not just a certain Rodgers. Someone else to chat about.
No, there's got to be plenty of that in the off season, so I can't wait to get in about that. I've just realised I've misspelled this. Oh, you know what? I'm just going to show myself up as being daft. Put this up anyway. But let's get into the last game, right? So I can't spell Buccaneers, obviously. Knocking. Is that the right spelling? Oh, I don't know.
Buccaneers. That looks right to me.
Looks about right, doesn't it?
It does. It's good enough.
We're never into this, And I just did the dash to go and get my laptop charger before the whole lot collapsed on us here. So let's go into the last game, right? And we'll round this one up, because this game, Monday night, Tom Brady went into this game 7-0 against the Cowboys. Monday night wildcard game. Stage was set for playoff Brady and the Bucks to do their thing. Dak and the Cowboys had been struggling of late. Surely it was written in the stars that they were going to go deep into playoffs here, the Bucks. But no, Dak stepped up, had arguably his best game of the season, threw 4 touchdowns, ran in another, blew out Tampa Bay at home. And let's face it, that could have been Tom Brady, the GOAT's final ever game in the NFL. But that's it. The Dallas went on to steal this one. It finished 31-14, and even that makes it a wee bit closer than it probably was. Break it down quickly, lads. I don't want to spend too much time in this. Let's to be honest, let's focus on the Dallas Cowboys going forward. I think we've seen enough, and we've spoke enough throughout the season about the Bucks and the struggles that they've had. I don't think there was anything new to report on this. Offensively, all over the place, nothing to really add to. Brady was all over the place. He actually looked like Brady of the Patriots in 2019 in that wild card game against the Titans, just knowing fine well things just aren't going well and he needs out of there. So, Smudger, tell us about Dak and them Cowboys.
How about them Cowboys? Yeah, like you said, the Cowboys had a brilliant game. Dak Prescott in particular was great. And the score, I think it flatters Tampa. I mean, they were at home, and they really did struggle. And the 14 points, like the last 2 touchdowns, it was really they put up nothing in the first half, which just shows you how much they struggled against the Cowboys defense. And then they were forced into score a touchdown, we'll go for 2. First attempt, didn't get it. Second attempt, yeah, it flattered them. It really did. And the Cowboys, they put in an absolutely solid playoff performance here. And the one touchdown I really liked that we were talking about just before, I think it was second half with the third touchdown, I think it was, where Dak, they're basically the 4th and goal, and they decide, no, I'm not going to take the field goal, we're going to go for it. And Dak has the wee kind of slight hand. You think he's handed it off, but he's actually still got the ball tucked behind him. He just runs around the side and walks in for the touchdown. Absolutely brilliant to see. I love little kind of trick plays like that when you see them. But the Cowboys just looked really, really comfortable. They weren't put under a lot of pressure. When you look at the stats and the receivers as well, they were spreading the ball out really, really well. Dalton Schultz had a brilliant game, a couple of touchdowns for him. The Cowboys, they're finding momentum at the right time, certainly as far as they go. And they couldn't have probably asked for a better matchup, playing a really struggling Bucks team. I don't think we've really learned anything new about the Cowboys other than this is the Cowboys that we know they can be, that we probably saw earlier in the season. They've really struggled towards the end of the season, had some absolutely honking games, to be honest. So, yeah, they've come good at the right time. Whether they can keep it up, I don't know. But yeah, I only saw the highlights of this like yourself. It was a late game, so watch the kind of highlights this afternoon to see what other takes we could take from the Cowboys' performance. Disappointing for the Bucks, but not entirely unexpected. And a shame for Brady. I actually read a stat that Brady's red zone interception was his first ever red zone interception as a Buccaneer, which I found really surprising. But that's credit to Brady, I suppose.
That was an awful play, though. You could see Brady walking off, like smacking his helmet and stuff. Just what the hell are you doing? But I guess when desperate times, you just your brain kind of gets away from you.
He knew that game was over, though. He probably knew at half time that the game was over. I think even Brady, the master of some of the greatest comebacks in the history of the game, I think he even knew we're not coming back from this one.
Even the Cowboys kicker was trying to do them a favour. He was just refusing.
That's actually, we need to talk about that. Four extra points missed.
We'll have a job soon.
Right, okay, Scud. Give us in-depth analysis into his kicking style, which led to those 4 points missed.
Pish. No, just the game itself. It started off really, really slow. I think it was punt. The 4 punts to start off with. The game started off horrible. Dallas got into the groove and got the ball moving from there. But I think Dallas is a good team. They just Dak needs to cut out the interceptions. What he does, it shows you what he can do when he's not get the questionable decisions and throwing the ball up for grabs. But again, you didn't see a lot of rushing from him either. He got his wee rushing touchdown, as you touched on, Smudger. But again, he's not doing as much of the rushing anymore as either. I suppose they get to a stage where they need to protect themselves and maybe not do as much. Hence, using what Allen might be doing with the Bills. But no, it was a really strong performance. But again, you can't really take in from how good they are or where they are because the Bucks were that bad. You can't let gas somebody Brady's age to throw the ball 66 times in a game. That is ridiculous.
That's ageist.
Anybody to throw... Dak didn't even... He threw the ball twice as much as Dak. But Dak only threw it 33 times and Brady's out there throwing it 66. That's too much for somebody to throw the ball. It just shows you how bad they were in the run game. Again, that's...
Shows you with the struggle way all year. I think we've said this quite a few times in podcasts. That's what I was saying. I don't really want to kind of touch on it because we've said...
No, sorry.
Sorry, I'll let you away with this one time, but that's a black mark against your name. Don't want to harm again.
An asterisk.
But again, it was always playoff Larry and all this kind of nonsense. And, would he go for about 7 yards or something like that? They've just been completely inept in the run game. But again, it's building up a bit of confidence in Dallas, something they need a bounce back game just to give them that ego, that boost to get into the divisional round. Liam, what do you make of their offense? Because again, that's confidence goes a long way in this league. Your momentum goes a long way in this league. You had plays from Schultz. You had their rookie tight end Ferguson, I think he's called. You had Lamb, Gallup making big plays. Pollard in there making plays. Good. We're going to go to the next bit. Obviously, they've got to go up against the 49ers in that defense. Do they have the talent there to actually make a deeper push in there and start worrying some of these NFC teams that are remaining?
I suppose, as you say, when you list them all off, they've got a good skill mix. Kind of like, as we talked about right at the start, the 49ers. I don't think they're quite the same, definitely at the same level with the 49ers. I don't think skill mix-wise, the skill players, but it's not a bad core for Prescott to use and throw the ball or get some rushing yards. I thought it was interesting that Pollard, I know he's been doing it quite a lot this season, but had more rushing yards than and attempts than Elliott, I think, this game as well. So are we finally seeing the complete shift over sort of thing to Pollard being the number one there? But
Jerry Jones will have a word with Mike McCarthy.
What are you doing, son?
It's true.
Has Mike
carries 13 and 77 yards for Pollard, only 27 for Elliott.
To me, he's far more explosive. Like Zeke's a great running back, and power running back in it, but just more explosive with the ball in his hands and on his field,
All season, you just think, when he's got the ball, you think something's going to happen, just all season. Yep. So, totally.
Mike McCarthy,
he's probably saved his job, hasn't he? So,
well, for another week. You just know fine well, he's for Texas and a bit of a cowboy, Jerry Jones. He's got itchy trigger finger. He's dying just to pull the trigger, I think, there.
You get Peyton in.
You can do it to Jimmy Johnson. You can do it to Garrett. You can do he's not going to hang about. Any other final thoughts? To me, I think we've covered it well. At the end of the day, what was that word you used earlier to sum up the kickers, Scud?
Shite.
No, it was pish.
Oh, it was
pish.
Same thing.
No, it's not. If you're doing a shite with your brother, I get to the doctors, mate.
I didn't have a look after just before we came on, just to see. I had seen if there'd been an update because Russell Gage took a bit of a nasty fall during the game. So I haven't seen how he is, but hopefully he's all right because it looked like a pretty bad one having to get carted off. So fingers crossed he's all right because not so good news for the Bucks.
No, I don't want to finish the season with any more of these scary looking injuries. There was concussion with a neck injury there, and just want all the guys to get off the field healthy and nothing. They put their bodies fairly in the line for our entertainment, and at least they can do is actually get off the field in one piece. So no, definitely, I hope he's doing well. Right. Through the 6 games there, lads, absolute crackers. Let's do a quick 5-minute or so look ahead to the divisional round, right? So what do we got up first? We've got Jags at Chiefs, Saturday night, 9:30, our time. Giants, Eagles, Saturday night, Sunday morning, 1:15. Bengals are at Bills, Sunday, 8 p.m. And I don't have the time on Sunday night, whatever it is.
I think it's half 11, I think.
It's a 11:30 midnight. It should be Cowboys at 49ers. So let's have a wee bit of fun about this. As I say, we'll leave the crew, the preview crew, to. Sorry, what's there's a comment. You don't usually shout that when folk are playing the pack. Enough of you, come on. You be quiet. Who the hell said people can comment in this show? Right? I'm in control here. Right, let's have a bit of fun, right? As I say, we'll leave the serious chat to the boys later on in the week to properly go through the review and get in the deep dive. But let's what we've just seen here, right? So, first of all, we'll do a quick one from the table. Who's going to win them, right? Just want your early predictions. We don't know about injuries. We don't know what's weather conditions and all that stuff. So, right, Jags Chiefs. We'll go Smudger, Liam, Scud. Smudger, who's winning Jags Chiefs?
Chiefs are going to win, but I want to see another, Chiefs go ahead, Jags make a massive comeback, and you think, are they going to do it again? They're going to do it again. And I think what's going to happen is that the Chiefs are just going to have enough quality to get through it. I think the home advantage is going to be the deciding factor here, and they've had that wee rest as well. I think they'll be well prepared.
That asterisk
Jags
rest.
Yeah. Asterisk
I thought it was a one-word answer.
Chiefs.
So did I. You know,
Sorry.
just knock yourself out. I've got all right, mate. It's not like I'm up at 5:30 for work or something. Right, Liam, who do you think's going to win that?
I'm going to go Chiefs as well. I'll keep it simple. Chiefs, one over
Good
that.
man, Scotty.
Jags.
I'm going Jags as well, just to get it right up studs.
Ooh.
Right,
Snap.
Giants, Eagles.
He's not drinking. For God's sake.
Come on,
Roger.
on the ball here, Craigie.
Eagles. Eagles.
I'm going Eagles too. Sorry, Murdo.
Eagles.
Sorry, Murdo.
I'm going Giants right now. And I'm allowed to put in extra words. I control the mic. Just basically because there's a question mark over Hurts right now. That's what I'm saying. As the injuries standing now, that's why I'm going. Right, Bengals, Bills.
Bengals.
Yeah, I'm going for Bengals too. Want to see? I've got an interest with Burrow in my fantasy league, so I'll take him.
Bengals.
I'm going Bills. That old line is just got to get Joe B killed. That's not going to work for him. Right, Cowboys, 49ers.
Niners.
Niners.
Full sweep. There we go. Niners will win that one, right? So, what? I guess looking at these games, what's your game of the week got to be?
I think it's the Cowboys. I think Cowboys. Niners
Cowboys.
after Cowboys last night.
Yeah.
I'm going for a shootout.
Scotty?
I'm thinking.
What do you mean you're thinking? Come on, snap the answers. We need you here on the ball. I'm going to
Eagles,
go.
Giants.
That's what I was going to say. See, we're like that, Scud. That's why we're on the ball. I think that'll be a cracker, to be honest. Again, I love a divisional game. I think that's the one that's really got to see good head-to-head. So, any other thoughts on these divisional round games? Because I'm just aware of the time. I'm a bit tired.
There's not a
My
bad
brain's
one
not
in them,
working.
that's for sure. There's not a bad game there.
Looking forward to it after the Wildcard weekend. It's definitely looking nice and tasty.
Okay, right. Before we go, one other thing. What's your upset? There's got to be one upset. What's the team who's more likely to cause the upset?
Jags.
And is there actually an upset? Jags. We're all in agreement. Jags.
Yeah, I'd
If
say
they're going to be
all of
upset,
them,
it'll be Jags. Yeah.
Giants or Jags have got to be the two upsets. The other ones are too close to call, I think.
I don't know.
almost
Cowboys,
coin
49ers. Me.
Not true.
Anyway, right. I'm just a bit spent. I've excreted all my NFL-ness for just now. I'm already going to get my New England Patriots pajamas on and think about getting some shut-eye as I cuddle into a life-size cardboard cow of Tom Brady. Lads, it's been an absolute pleasure. another good laugh. Great crack as ever. Let's do a quick one through the table. Smudge, start with you. What's your final thoughts of the evening?
That was tough. I had the tissues out. I thought there was going to be tears, but I say I'm used to disappointment. I'm Scottish. I'm 37. I've had decades of disappointment.
Like should sound his own voice.
I love the sound of my own voice. Of course I do.
You've got about 2 weeks to still bring out this 37 routine, so get it in there while you can.
Correct. Still young. I can still get a job in the NFL yet.
Liam,
I just enjoyed the wildcard weekend. I thought it was class. It was just nice to sit back and not have to worry about my team, thankfully, and just enjoy the
laugh
game.
your wee head off at your rivals. Yep, don't worry, we understand. Scuddy, what about you, man? Any final thoughts?
Kickers or pish?
There's the title for this podcast right there. Kickers or pish.
Right, fair enough. I agreed. We've got a Nishi here, or bloody Plato. We've got Scud. Right. Thank you very much to everybody who has watched and listened to this. Be sure to subscribe and all that good stuff. Love to hear from you. So get in touch with social media, Twitter, Instagram. We're on YouTube to watch all this stuff. Great to obviously get more and more people involved, people dropping us messages. Absolutely love hearing it. Keep it up. Any feedback, anything we can do, we're happy. We don't mind. We're suckers. We'll do it all. Scud will anyway, allegedly. Currently some phone boxes in Hamilton. But anyway, right, I'm just getting off in serious tangents tonight, lads. That's definitely me. I'm fatigued. Right, the crew will be back for the preview of the divisional games on I don't know, Thursday, Friday, some point before it. I'm done. Lads, catch you later on. Thank you very much, all. Catch you later.
Laters.
Cheers, boys.